It is August 21st in the year 2021. And so if you find yourself in this strange group, or if you find this recording, welcome to the right timeline. You found this, and here we are. This is the Blue Flame Collective. This is it's a little bit of an impromptu meeting this month, a little bit of an impromptu gathering, as we got a lot of stuff going on in the physical world. You guys have a lot of stuff going on in your worlds as well. We are in what we call a collective timeline shift stage. We're in what we might call a persona shift stage, in which a new character, a new version of you is kind of rising up on the earth plane. Everybody's getting it in their own way. And so, what are we doing today? Well, for those of you guys that recall, I think it was last month, we brought Eric Rains in. Eric Rains, really, really incredible healer, had an incredible impact. Honestly, he was probably the person that sort of initiated me into this strange thing that we're doing. And so we had a really fun talk with Eric Rains last month. And this month, we're going to bring somebody new in, Ivan Teller. And so for those of you guys who have not heard of Ivan, hopefully he can put his channel in the chat. I should have had it ready, but I'm just going to say it. And Ivan Teller and his work have become a regular daily part of my and Honora's lives. We met Ivan at the Starseed Adventures conference in February of 2021. And I had already seen a few of his channelings and a little bit of stuff he had done on his own channel. And I was very taken by this really interesting form of authenticity. Some of you guys have heard me talk in other sessions, in certain live streams. I have not been one of those individuals who is very invested and very pro channeling. It has not been a big factor within my energetic modalities, although we regularly speak with spirit, and although spirit regularly speaks through us. It's not something that I have really grabbed onto as a tangible modality, or even something that I had been for quite some time, not even really that interested in. I regarded everyone, that did it, and certain, based on their own energy and their own character. And then when I found Ivan earlier this year, I saw a very, very interesting thing occurring. And for a lot of you guys right now, you're developing your own skills, you're developing your own abilities, and your senses are changing. You're starting to feel energy, you're starting to perceive things non-physically in just really new ways. And when I started viewing Ivan's work, I was able to see what I believed was a very, very interesting and also a very, very unique type of energetic interaction. And so if you're in this group, you guys probably know that one of my primary focuses is on understanding energetic anatomy, and also on developing intuitive abilities and healing the body-mind-spirit complex through the understanding, the healing, the opening, and the clearing of energetic anatomy. And so when I first started watching Ivan doing his work, I realized really quickly on what it was, or one of the many things that made him unique, in that he has the ability to open the crown chakra at will, and also a number of other what we would call portals within the energy body. And I noticed that it was something that he was doing at will in a very, very deliberate, even if not conscious way. And it was one of the most unique versions of that I had ever seen. And so in the months since, Ivan's work has become just such a big part of our life. And I know you're listening in the background there, Ivan, but me and Honora, we will literally be having dinner here at home, and we, every day we're like, hey, so what's he up to? What's Ivan talking about? And so his work and the authenticity and just the many beings and the connections that he brings through, in my opinion, are some of the most authentic that I have encountered in my entire work here. And, it's not like I've been doing this too long, you guys. It's, you know what I mean? But in the time that I have been doing what I do, I think he represents one of the most natural versions of what some people call that cosmic switchboard, that sort of ability to confer or connect, whether it be through some sort of energetic or crystallized radio station ability, or whether it be through, the movement of that conscious energy in and out of the body, however you want to decide it, or excuse me, however you want to describe it. I believe he's one of the most authentic versions of that we've seen. And so we're going to be doing a chat with Ivan in a little bit here. But before we do that, let me know if you guys have any questions real quick. I know our last few meetings have been very new, very different. We are turning a bit of a corner with the work that we're doing in this group, in that we are still going to continue to do training processes. But I think one of the most important things that we can do as a collective, because I know that if you're part of this group, chances are you have come to the understanding that you are developing in a more intuitive way. You've come to the understanding that there is a whole other world of non-physical energy. Um, and for most of us that have hung around long enough, you will also realize that I, myself, and everyone here, we are not the be-all, end-all of that. And I think in order for us to really move forward as a collective, in order for us to understand the many tools, the many gifts, just all of the varieties of energy, both physical and non-physical, to me, I think one of the greatest things we can do is start bringing in new people, new energies, people that I believe are doing something that has an absolute value to our collective. And so that's what we're going to be talking about this month and also next month. I don't know who our next guest is. You guys can put some, you guys can even ask for certain guests. Who knows if they would come in here, but you got, come up with some ideas. If you guys want to see any type of modalities, or if you'd like to take a look at other frequencies, let me know and we will bring those in. But today it's going to be all about understanding communication with spirit, and just our own methods. How do we connect with spirit? What does that feel like? And what sort of things come through? One of the interesting things that I've noticed about a lot of channelers is that I have seen people that have sort of created a persona and a whole identity out of one singular being that is transmitted through that person's consciousness. And no matter what your opinions are on that, what I find is, very, very unique about Ivan as well is that he's able to bring through a variety of identities, a variety of frequencies, a variety of, all sorts of beings. And I think that's also very indicative of what's really going on within our spiritual realm, because I know there's a few real astral travelers in this group. In fact, most of us here, whether you know it or not, have been out of your body regularly. But one thing we find, as soon as you actually leave this physical plane, you will discover that there is so much more that I can even possibly conceptualize. Any of us can. As soon as you get outside of this physical body, in fact, there are beings existing here with us in non-physical containers that only become physical once we step outside of this human body. And so wherever you are in this strange journey, we are coming to the stage in which it's very important for us to just be of greater awareness as to how that works, and what happens, and probably a bunch of other things that I meant to rant about that I'm now forgetting. But we're going to go ahead and bring Ivan in a second. Please let me know if you guys have any questions today, any comments. We're also going to be doing an event next weekend. I'm hoping they're going to let us broadcast this one on live streams. The reason why I didn't announce it as a free thing in this group, if they allow us, I'm going to be broadcasting live from Camp Disclosure next weekend. We're going to be doing I think 3 things there. I'm going to be doing a qigong presentation, a group healing, and also a talk, I believe, on I think it's Friday the 27th. But please do check it out at campdisclosure.com. You can get a live stream ticket there. And there's a lot of really cool people that are going to be there. Eric Rains, who was with us a couple weeks ago, Geraldina Roscoe, Barry Littleton, another guy who's really, really cool. I'm gonna mention him here. Jonathan, I think it's Jonathan White. He does a thing called Sexual Kung Fu. Which honestly, you guys, the first time I ever heard about it, I was like, oh yeah, really? Yeah, so okay, sexual kung fu, cool. But to be honest with you, when I observed this man's work, I think that he was incredibly unique because he was able to broach and just sort of talk about and create an openness about just the energy of sexuality in a way that I found was accessible to everyone, no matter where you are within that energy spectrum. And so he's also going to be speaking there. Really, really cool guy. I'm looking forward to him as well. But yeah. I think that's it for now. Let me know. I'm going to wait a couple moments, see if we get any questions in here, and we shall begin. I also want to mention, because I see a number of people from our multidimensional training group, we do have a new class starting up. It is starting once again on October 1st. We're going to be starting our formal program 2 in the School of Multidimensional Intuition, and that is we're bringing a whole new group of people in. A lot of you guys already know we have been taking our pilot group of 12, actually 15 individuals through the first 6-month course, and we are starting a new one once again. And so you guys can check that out on the website if you want to be involved in it. For being in Patreon, you do get a discount But we are doing interviews this time, and so we want to make sure that this is a program that everyone is going to benefit from, and so we do a pre-interview. But for those of you guys that are interested in becoming a part of a much more intensive group process over the next 6 months, check it out at rememberyourmission.com. And so I think that's it. We're going to go ahead and bring in Ivan. Let me change my camera settings here. As you know, I'm famously awkward with Zoom, everyone. I have to like unpin myself. Every time I try to do that, it gets really weird. Maybe that's my computer. But there we go. I think if I remove my spotlight, it allows people to come in. Ivan, let me know if you can hear me. How you doing?
I hear you. Yeah.
Excellent.
Good. Good to see you.
Thank you for being here.
Everybody.
Yeah, I mean that very sincerely. It is really good to see your face again. Yeah, how are you? How is life out there in the wilds of Florida?
We gotta just moved. I'm in a minimalistic lifestyle now. So
Nice, nice.
cats are here. They're sleeping. So
Cool. Yeah, I can see the background there. It looks like yeah. So so you moved to another part of Florida, correct?
yeah, I'm in Largo, Florida now. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Nice, nice, very cool.
cool.
We're actually moving to outside of Tampa, as you know, in a few
Yeah.
next month. It seems like a lot of people in America are making the journey over there to the East Coast. What do you think about that?
Well, I was trying to go to your part of the country, but apparently it's not very safe or whatever's going on. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not surprised. Either it's here or Texas, right? Or
totally, totally. Um, cool. And
it's like
so
you're being called here. Well, it looks like.
it is. It has been very much a reassignment. And so I just want to make sure our camera views are okay, guys. I think I might have forcefully pinned your camera up there, Ivan. So it might be switching back and forth. I'm famously awkward with Zoom, so it's like we're gonna get all kinds of weird little glitches. But yeah, I think we got camera settings okay. Let me know in the chat, you guys. Sometimes I make it really awkward, but yeah, I think we're okay. Um, Anyway, so here we are. As you know, the whole object of this group is really kind of helping people understand the layers of spirit, helping us develop new layers of discernment, understand awareness about spirituality, how it works, how we encounter it, and honestly, really what we can do to really strengthen ourselves and move forward in our missions. And so, I guess if you're willing, I would like to start out today with just maybe you telling us how did you get started into this? Tell us some of the events around when you first started channeling, and really anything that feels relevant about just your start.
Oh well, the short version around 2014, I was in a part of a psychic circle, and it didn't feel like that was my direction. Like who are people going to meet and stuff like that, or when they're going to make $1 million or stuff like that. Stuff you tap into. So I kind of pulled out of um, that circle because that's where I learned about how energy protection and everything. But I was at work, minding my own business. Nothing was going on. This is a long story short. And this message came to me. It's like reptilian channeling reptilians. It's like, why didn't I think of that? Like, where have I been? So it's like, and this happens at work every once in a while. Just it's really quiet. I get a message like, Jason, everything's turned to change. So I looked online. I looked at that. I knew about channeling, but not that deep into it. It's like, well, I can do that. I can tap into people's energies. I mean, anybody's energy, and connect to where they're going. So why can't I do that with an alien being? So I started doing it consciously. So I started with reptilians first because David Icke and all that. I was like, why not? And I went to the Grays, and then I felt like a reptilian in my car in the back seat. I felt them talking to me like, "You think you're really smart," and stuff like that. So I got, it was kind of funny. In this, if I was tapping into like Iraq and stuff like that, it's like, what am I connecting to? It's like, so I wasn't sure. So I was doing it consciously. So it's like if anybody's like tap into someone's energy and just pull it in, it's like I wanted to go a little bit further, and I was thinking, it's like, why can't I bring something through? Because my friend did like radio interviews with spiritual people, and one of them was MUFON. So I usually leave this out of my story, but I was thinking, it's like, well, this MUFON person. So if I channel a gray for a MUFON person, that should be different. That's where that goes.
Mm,
Of course, I never got a hold of that person. I got to get off on that.
yeah.
But I felt energy from my guides too. I just felt them kind of pushing me towards this. So I was really skeptical about it. So I did like I forgot, we did like a talk, or my friend and I, we did like a spiritual talk, and what money I got from that, I used to get an audio recording, like how to channel. Use that. So I got an auto recording, and I would the first night was about Betsy Morgan. You can find her online, and I just followed her instructions. It's
Mhm.
like she did a chakra clearing, which is for me boring, but good. But it's like, okay, where's the meat of all this? So we got into the channeling part. She wanted me to channel her guide Orion. It's like, okay, that doesn't feel right. It's like channel your guide for
Yeah.
her. But the idea was to see a being in front of you. Of course, there's a little process before that. You like see a waterfall. I see, and you see it being in front of you, so you can channel through. You can channel comes, you can come through and channel through me. It wasn't working with Orion, so I was like, okay. I tried Angel. I wasn't that familiar with angels at the time, and I feel them trying to get through my energy shield. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
So my spirit guide, Ulysses, kind of like a
Nice.
questionable guide, or got hijacked at one time. Either way, I knew who he was, so he came right through. He came right through my shield, and it channeled him. Just didn't really trust him. So that was the channeling basically.
Yeah.
And after that, channeled a Gray, and it was the Gray talked about abductions. How a lot of the Grays are kind of lost, and just kind of don't know what they're doing. Sometimes they're doing what they're being told or whatever it might be. But my crown chakra was lit up after that, and I felt the Grays on their ship.
Mm.
I felt them walking around. This very not very often I feel that.
Yeah. Well,
Sometimes they do that to let me know that they're there. It's very
that's
and it's
rad.
like after that, I knew this is what I gotta do. So I got a camera. It's like I knew I need to put this online. If I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I felt protected.
Yeah.
I did this was around the California fires around 2000. It was happened on March 15th, 2015. Ides of
Yeah.
March.
I remember that. Yeah.
So I'll always have a date. I channeled a yell being, the yell or humans like us. You have like squash faces or something.
Yeah. Huh.
I channeled one of them during this channeling process I started to do at night. And funny, I would channel with the lights off because I was just trying to be.
Yeah. Create an
Um,
ambiance. Yeah. Totally.
yeah, just something about it. I don't know, but I channeled the yell about the fires. That video got cut somehow. The original. It's like someone come in and cut it. Whatever I was saying, I wasn't supposed to say. So anyway, when I
Wow.
put it online, it's like, oh, this uploaded version. There's something cut out of it. So I looked at the original, same thing. So somebody
Huh.
interfered.
Well, very interesting. If I may, I would like to rewind just like a bit far back there because I've actually heard you mention this before, and I find it fascinating. When you first were, let's say, take us back to when you were riding in your car the very first time, and you're like, feel like there's a reptilian here. Because I have to say, as a person who does this sort of work every single day, a lot of people come to me. This is no joke. I say this with love and respect, and they're like, "There's these reptilians." And they're in my house and they're doing, and honestly, straight up, you guys, they'll be like, these reptilians are raping me constantly, or they're doing some horrible, brutal act. And so there, we get lots of different versions of reptilian energies. I myself, oddly enough, I have to be really authentically real. I've only encountered positive reptilian energy, and I know, maybe a day is gonna come when we get otherwise, but for you, when you first felt that being or that energy in your car, what was it like? Was it an emotion, a feeling? Was it a sound? What do you think?
Kind of like a teenager, kind of like snarky, kind of you think you're all that and all that. So it wasn't really like you're here to attack you or anything like that. It's more like, you're just it was more like
Yeah.
so it wasn't, I've had usually I'm not worried about them or anything, but I had one like I was doing webinars and one guy can actually see beings and I forgot who I was channeling, but he saw a reptilian just come into his room. It was like,
Mm,
scared, you know, he wasn't
yeah,
used to that.
that's fascinating. How did you first begin to differentiate? Let's say when that reptilian encounter, when, in the beginning, you're like, well, okay, I feel this energy in my car. I feel, maybe the personality or the persona, the consciousness of it. What did you notice when you started feeling, say, something like, the grays or that yellow presence? How did you begin to differentiate between those beings? And was it just a knowing? Because I know, like, for me, a lot of people are like, how did you feel this part of the body? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do. So I know some people, it's just a thing where they're like, yeah, I don't know. I just knew it was there. But others will be like, well, I know because of this feeling or sometimes this smell. Or how did you begin to differentiate those signals?
Well, that was right away. You can feel the energy signatures of them. So the gray, like when you want to channel, I can just know like it's a gray. Some people have like, oh, is it something else? And I mean, I feel like it's the right thing. I mean, I don't feel like it's something else, and nothing's come through to say I'm going to just take over your world or anything like that. Of course, I've had something similar to that, but that's anyway. I knew who that was, but they just feel like reptilians are a lot like us. They have emotions like us. It just they're a bunch of green, like look like a ninja turtle or something like that, but just look a little bit different. I mean, I've seen a reptilian in my kitchen. After I
Mm.
started channeling, I felt like I don't think like it channeled like the cone heads, and I felt a reptilian at my door in my bedroom. It was like, oh, geez, I didn't see it, but I could feel it. It's like it was mad, and it was in the kitchen. It's like I don't want to be in this kitchen. It's like I gotta get out of here. And then the next day in the morning, I opened up the door to the refrigerator. In the corner of my eye, I saw a reptilian being. It looked like some big Bronco. It was pretty neat. He was just irritated.
Yeah.
And I went to a psychic circle after that, a different one, and I channeled a Pleiadian to kind of spook some people out, but so I asked home about it. There's like this reptilian I felt like he's like, yeah, they felt this aggravation going through the group. So following me
Interesting. Huh. Very, very interesting. How, so here, and I know I'm just going to be jumping around with all sorts of questions. So maybe this will get, maybe this will get awkward and like confusing, but when did you know that these beings wanted to speak with you? And I will sort of expand on that question a little bit more because as a person who also does this, and also since we're here amongst a group of many people who are learning how to kind of discern spirit, when did you start to figure out that they were willing to speak through you or they wanted to speak through you? Because, you know, it's a very, very specific type of interaction in which, when you're actually working with spirit in that way. How did you know that it was a thing that, that they wanted to speak? What was that like for you?
well, yeah, well, the first day at channel is like because before that I've been trying other things in life and nothing's been working out. Right, writing didn't work. Like, just nothing's working. I mean, I had a job. I was like, I ain't that interested in that. So it's got to be something else in my life that does. But nothing was working. And then just connecting to these beings, it just felt like this is my mission. It's like I've been activated.
Yeah.
So I felt Anunnaki beings. And when it comes to Zeta, was real important for people to connect with. One of the early webinars is just some people getting in there just being kind of angry at them, which is very awkward. For obvious reasons. But it just felt, yeah, just for cleansing, healing for other people, and exploring, see what other beings are out there. It's a healing. It's just a whole nother perspective.
Yeah.
And it just felt like this is what I'm here to do, and I have no idea. I just got to keep doing this. So I did like webinars every day, like 3 or 4 hours, like
Yeah.
just
You know,
became a mission.
kind of like you, and I don't know, maybe you had this experience. I suspect there's other people that will be watching this and also in this group that have had this experience, but I don't know about you, but I did not have really any success or nothing really worked for me in this life until I started doing the work that I am doing now. And kind of like you, I had tons of jobs, I had careers, I did this, I did that, and nothing really ever worked until this weird day when I was like, you know what? Maybe I really am a professional, whatever, insert
Interesting.
keyword, or maybe
Interesting.
I am going to do this. And it was weird because when I did, literally everything shifted. How was that process for you? Like coming from the like the 3D version of Ivan to then you're like, maybe I'm going to connect with beings now, from now
It's
on.
like,
How was it?
well, yeah, well, like with writing, like you're trying to do screenplay writing, like really badly. Like I felt like I was being blocked from it too. It's like it's really frustrating because you get these downloads. So I'm already tapping into this stuff. I know what channeling feels like because when I connect to a story, I'm channeling the character or the story or the plot. So I'm used to that process. So I've been doing it for a while. So it's like I'm like one failure after the other. It's like nothing's working. So like for 10 years, what since 2000 I guess to 2015. Every once in a while writing, it's like, okay, let me try this again. Okay, it fails. Okay, I'm gonna do something else. So I'm so used to channeling characters and story plots and stuff like that and writing out, stuff wrong, but who cares? It doesn't matter. I'm used to that connection. So channeling aliens, like it's not much different really. Especially when I started connecting to people. What's the difference? So I mean technically fiction and all that's channeled from somewhere anyway. So
I actually fully agree. I think so much of what we are encountering within science fiction, within the stories, within, what we, describe as total imaginary energy are literal constructs and absolutely real creations that exist on the non-physical plane. And especially when it comes to that whole secret space program thing right now, which we might talk a little bit more about in the future. I have some interesting ideas about it, but well, we will get to that momentarily. There's just a couple questions from people in the group, if you don't mind. First, just a
sure.
couple little things, and um, feel free if you guys have any other questions, if you guys want as well. We will get to those. There's a couple other things here, but we have a question from Nora. Thanks for being here, Nora. She says, I have a question for Ivan. Do you experience any unwanted side effects from channeling so often?
So it is just being worn out. That's about it. Just you just take it easy and it depends on what you're channeling to. I mean, I've been doing it for so long, I'm kind of used to it. So just knowing to take it easy and just hope for this, it seems. So
Yeah, I feel you.
go further with it. The world's not ready for some of this other stuff that's out there, but we'll see if we can get it through. So,
Cool. Nice. Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Um, Here's another one here. This is from Carissa. She says, do you have any suggestions on how to trust that your information is accurate and how to get rid of self-doubt? I know it's a little different for everyone, but
yeah.
yeah, how do you feel about that?
Oh well, yeah. When I first started doing it, just kind of go with it. You just put it's all in your intentions. So I put my intentions, and just sort of just yeah. You channel when you tell these beings you can channel through me without my interference. So they can come through you without your interference because sometimes you can interfere with it. So that was a big thing starting out. So you feel like, oh no, you're talking. It's kind of a combine thing. They come through you. They go through your vocabulary,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Sometimes having the less vocabulary is the better because some people don't understand what you're talking about. So you talk about these big words, and it's like, what is that? So, um, but yeah, you just trust it. If a being comes in saying, I mean, I know other channelers are doing just things like shouldn't even be doing anything, doing something else in life, but um, you just do the best you can. That's all you can do, for what's coming through. I mean, a lot of stuff people aren't ready for, or just this isn't, people are opening up still, figuring things out. So it's not, if it's not going to feel everyone, but some people it will. So yeah, just the way I've looked at it,
Yeah,
take it or leave it.
totally. Yeah, there is very much kind of a jumping off of a cliff thing.
That's yeah. You just gotta
Yeah.
just put yourself out there, put out the positive intentions. Like I'm here to help people. I'm not here to talk to the doomsday of the world or anything like that. So
Yeah, totally. I actually completely agree on that. I will kind of like divert with a really weird thing. This is such a non sequitur. Um, after our first encounter, and when you and I first met at Starseed Adventures, and just kind of had a, we just had a couple talks and hung out a
Mhm.
little bit. When I came back to LA and I started doing sessions, it was like I was able to connect with the switchboard energy that you had. It was like it was almost like it's a collective energy that was available. And I have to be totally real. We've spoken many times in many sessions since then. I think just it's a really cool thing to notice as a person who also does the same thing, that like you are legitimately connecting in with all sorts of beings, because then you go and it's sort of like you'll find the address in this weird way. Maybe this is just Matthew's sort of internalized vocabulary, but it's like I'll find the address and I'm like, huh, I remember, let's see, and I'll be doing my own thing and I'm like, huh, I'm gonna kind of dial into that, and boom, there it is. And it even speaks with similar cadence and frequency as some of the things that you bring through. And so I know you already know this, but it's just a really cool indicator of like it's like a confirmation that there's something actually there. And I guess with that, that kind of comes with a little bit of a weird question, because this is also a thing for me. This is sort of my question as well, because I'm not a person that does active channeling, although beings will speak and they do. But how do you know when it's Ivan and when it's, say these other beings? Because we do know that there's a vocabulary mix. We do know that that frequency can really only use what's present or what that container is capable of transmitting. And so how do you know when those things are getting mixed up? And have you ever found that? Like, what's that like for you?
Well, I get so pulled into it. I mean, like the public channeling, sometimes my higher self might come through, depending on what it might be, or knowledge from that, and then it switches back to the being. It all depends on the situation. I'm in this channeling state, so there's not much I can do. I'm just
Mm,
sort of letting it flow, so they can get information from me and put it through. So it's really, I'm not fully aware of all the things I know. So who knows? It's like they're going through my treasure chest and pulling things out. So
yeah,
it's I don't know. I don't really know.
totally.
Some of it
Yeah,
might be me. It's
yeah.
it's my higher self if it's anything. It's not me. It's another part of me. So, which is not, you know, it's helpful. That's all that matters.
I feel you. I feel you. Here's a here's another question, which we kind of know the answer to, but maybe this is a good one to talk about. Hope says, "Have you channeled any negative beings?"
Here and there. I mean, some reptilian beings have been kind of questionable. If I do, I mean, I don't remember everybody I connect to. Kind of like, but yeah, sometimes like CIA stuff I channel. I try to bring like a more positive side out of them. So
Yeah.
if I connect to something questionable, I do bring, you know, kind of a good side to everything. So, I mean, we did a webinar early days where one of the members, he had like going through some stuff, and a dark reptilian came through him
Mm.
out of nowhere. And just like, yeah, you guys are, humans are all scum and stuff like that. It's pretty funny, actually. Got a lot of attention. So that was there. So I haven't had anything like that. But even questionable beings that bring them through, it's like, why are you doing this? Why are you causing? So I guess you can say I bring him through on a diplomatic channel. You can say.
Diplomatic.
So you get their point of view. Yeah, it's like you have like a criminal being, and yeah, as my energy field, I don't get possessed by these things or anything like that. Now, if I channel something like Project Montauk, which I got energy attacked by, yeah, that's my cat went crazy and I felt something of his presence that wasn't good. So
Mm. How did you know you were getting an attack from that Montauk energy?
oh yeah, my cat was free. I felt it was a presence. First off, that's Montauk's kind of did Stranger Things, the TV show.
Mhm, mhm,
And my cat was just complete, Zoe that ended up passing away that week. Was
mm.
freaking out. He never does that. Not like that. He just kept talking, like he was just terrified. And a couple of days later, he died. So
Wow.
that was kind of not a coincidence. So,
Wow, I'm really,
yeah.
man, I'm
So
sorry to hear that.
and it felt an energy. I felt like it was an energy attack. I mean, he was old anyway, but still, it was protecting me basically. So I was getting somewhere. So you're worrying about negative beings. Jeez. talk about negative topics, just tapping into these topics. Lockheed Martin, you can go, I'm gonna just go leave it at that. You know, what do you think they're doing? So, careful about that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So wow, that's wild.
But
I do recall when Zoe passed. I remember hearing,
yeah, we talked
like
about
watching. So yeah, that's wild. I have also encountered weirdness after connecting with certain people, or what some people would call guide energy, or even in doing certain types of, I don't even call them entity removals anymore. I just call them clearings, really, because I think even just adding that term in there always creates a fun layer of, everybody's got their own perception of it. But I have also found, at times, emotional states that come through, or connections with people's guides that seem to persist, like an energy hangs around. And that is kind of leading me to the next question. And because I know you also work with people, on a client basis, and you do individual sessions. And do you ever find any just differences between when you connect over, say, YouTube, and when you connect with people's individual guides? Are there differences? What's it like?
well, the public stuff, they're careful of what they say. Maybe not. I don't know. It's I think they have to hold. But in private session, they can go deeper. It all depends on the person too. If the person's really closed off, it's hard to really go deep with them. If they're not ready for it. But if you've done enough where they are open, you can get deep, like what they're ready to hear, if on a deeper level. Those are really good connections. It's because they're ready to hear it. They're ready to. But a lot of people are not ready for that.
Yeah.
They're just holding back and stuff like that. It's a general message. Any messages? Well, the weather's nice. You did good job at work today. I mean, there's not so much. Depends on
Yeah.
the person.
I
So
like
it's
that you do that. Actually, I have noticed that with a couple of your live streams, where like you'll take questions and people are like, Are there any messages for me?" And I have to say, as a professional reader, okay, which I say this with true love and respect, and maybe this is just difference with me, but I don't find too many beings out there that are like, "Yes, I would love to give you a message about X, Y, and Z." How do you find that you're connecting with their higher self? Do you find that it's a process of observance, or do you feel that there are? Because I know everyone's going to be in contact with spirit in a different way. That's something that I really like about you, is that you're able to go, yes, I believe, ding, ding, ding. And it's like you'll slide right in there. How is that process, and how do you feel about that?
for a general message. Yeah, it all depends. Like, but channel of being, it can be. Usually, it's more of a normal. It's like an astral message or a spiritual message. It has nothing to do with your daily life. Sometimes it might be about if you're going to meet somebody or whatever it might be in reality, but a lot of it's off world, like I say, multidimensional. Or some people I just can't get anywhere with. Always on a conscious level. All depends. Yeah. General message. Yeah, that's a asking for a general message. Those are kind of the hardest questions
Right? Oh, I totally
sometimes.
agree. I totally agree.
Yeah. If you want to derail somebody, just ask that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, I mean, it's all right, but it's just if it's more directed at help, it's really, it's okay to ask that though. It all depends
Yeah.
on the situation. With private sessions, it works out pretty good, especially if I know who the person is. I'm used to their energy. But even if I don't know, it all depends.
Yeah.
On public level, yeah, public, yeah, that's why you do messages publicly for people. It's like it's public. It's like we can't tell you about anything. So your
Yeah.
cousin Harry says hi or something like
Totally. We're just going all over the place with all these questions. Thank you for humoring all my questions. Do you find that there's a difference? Do you ever notice that you have channeled, say, what we would call beings or spirits that have passed on, versus the what we might call multidimensional entities? Do you find that there's a difference in that? How does that work for you?
that. Well, the ones that have crossed over, like the first one that comes is JFK.
Right.
I feel his energy right now. It's not
Oh, cool. Nice, nice.
That's different. Well, yeah, because they have an emotional connection to this place. I feel like they've left before their time, at least for him. it's just they have unfinished business here. It all depends on the being. And a multidimensional being, normally it's a lot lighter. If it's a human that's been here, it all depends on the being too. Some channel well, some don't. Some don't know what they're doing when they come through me. It all depends. Some just because the energy you channel the energy doesn't mean the energy knows what they're doing. Like sometimes I don't even want to say anything.
Yeah.
So, but you don't know that when you're connected. It happens, especially when someone just crossed over, or you have family that is mad at them for leaving so soon or dying just because of old age
Yeah.
or whatever it might be. So, yeah, those are kind of rough. But multidimensional beings are usually a lot lighter.
Interesting. So you could just tell that there is a difference, or you could feel like the heaviness, or maybe the energy that the previous human consciousness carries. And I don't know. That's kind of a weird way to ask that,
Oh,
but go ahead.
interesting. Okay, well, here, this one's was a while. This is a while back. So for this lady, I channeled her spirit guide. Spirit guide gave her kind of, I don't know, general messages and here and there. Not too bad. I channeled a friend of hers that just passed over, and she went really deep, more deeper than the spirit guide about this person's life and stuff like that. And she was not laughing and stuff like that. So it's like it all depends. It's all about relations. Just because you have spirit guides doesn't mean they know everything about you. Because this person had a life with that lady. So yeah, there's an emotional bond there. So it all depends on the person you're tapping into. Was it a good situation, or um, if you're like a family member that just crossed over your channel and everybody's just mad at them or something, like, so,
Yeah, yeah. So there will be more like emotional charge, or more
yeah, there's a lot of
history, or
that.
maybe even karma attached to that. And I don't know,
Oh,
maybe that shows up in there.
yeah. I mean, I've channeled beings that have suicide. Those are rough. Those are really, especially if I don't know if it was a suicide. I mean, I'm just bringing it in somebody and it slowly comes out like that. It's like, yeah, those
Oh,
are
that's
those are
fascinating.
heavy. Those can be kind of light, but you don't really. Yeah, they're usually something's going
Totally. Um, what would you say to everybody here who is learning their own skills? They're figuring out, like, okay, I know I can do a thing. I have realized now that this is not just me, in my mind. I'm connecting with something, or I am, maybe I'm having dreams and I'm leaving my body, or I'm starting to get a whole other message. When I look at people's content, I'll sort of look at even a text message. Because a lot of you guys out there, you'll just look at a text now or a message on Facebook, and you get a whole other story. You get a whole other message underneath it. As someone whose profession and mission it is to connect, to vocalize, and to communicate with spirit, also on behalf of others, because we know, especially working with clients, you're in a really interesting, we are in somewhat of an interpreter position. And you, for many people, are the filter. You're the one filter between what some people understand as spiritual beings or entities. For those of us that are just now figuring it out, is there any advice, anything that you could tell people? What do they work on? What do they need to know? That's such a broad question, but I just want to leave it open. Go ahead.
on. Well, yeah, you go where your passion is. What is it that you want to develop? Um, I mean, it's kind of like so I did screenwriting forever, and I wasn't getting anywhere with that. So it just sort of, I mean, these things kind of pop up on their own too. So, well, if you want to be an energy healer, you can, it's where your passion is, what is calling you, and that will. Many people are multi-talented in different fields, so it's basically just to explore everything, try everything, and and take it slow. If you're not sure, just the slower the better. Take a year off, do whatever you need to do. Then it's like you got to go at your processes that's right for you. Because if you're not ready for it, it won't come anyway. It'll be harder. It's like I think I need to. I've been trying to like Reiki or something, for example. People are not feeling it, so just take a break, do life stuff, and then you can always come back to it.
Yeah.
So just for me, it just sort of just came to me. So just
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we have a new question here as well. And also, you guys, if you guys have any questions, please do throw them in there. If you want, you can ask a question. If you guys have your mics as well, if somebody wants to ask a question after this, we can do a couple questions, and then if you want, we can sort of see who shows up. But Liz White Swan, she says, in your opinion, Ivan, is there one clear sense better or best to work with or develop for channeling, or to each their own? I often see claircognizance and feel like they're missing something if clairvoyance isn't their strongest sense. That's a very good question. What do you think about that, Ivan?
Well, but actually, I recommend actually meditation to connect. Actually, I mean, if you want to do it, meditation is a good way of just connecting to a being, just asking a being to come through, and then doing like a conscious connection to it when you're not doing it. I mean, it's all meditation anyway. So it's it's where you're most comfortable with. The being plays a big role in it too, who you're connected to. Angel, elemental, some of that you feel safe. So yeah, channeling one or two beings is safe at the beginning, definitely. It doesn't always it's whoever you want to connect with. Some people are just obsessed with the alien stuff, which is understand because we'll have unresolved stuff going on there probably. But of course, many people are incarnated angels here. So they instantly some of them are drug addicts
Yeah.
because remember their higher frequencies. Of course, a lot of alien people are drug addicts too because remember the higher frequencies. So
Yeah. Actually, it's strange that you would mention that. I fully agree. There is somewhat of an interesting frequency, or just
mhm.
a similarity that shows up with the process and the frequency of addiction when it comes to, I think, individuals or multidimensional beings that incarnate in human bodies. Because that has been a factor of life for myself and many others within this. Not that it is for everyone, but you will find that people that do at times have a much greater level of access within the spiritual realm will just fall prey to certain types of, what I call the maladies of the star seed. Like a lot of us come here, with a pre-existing somewhat of an agreement, where, we may get addicted, we may become traumatized, we might be the traumatizer, we're going to play a number of different roles. And anyway, it just makes total sense. Oddly enough, there was another, how I think you'll have this too. You'd be like, oh man, I want to ask this really important question. Okay. And then you're like, oh, what was that? What was I going to say? So, you guys raise your hand if you all have any questions. You can use the hand raising thing
Yeah.
there.
You bring someone in or
Oh, I honestly, I would love it. Do you have any ideas, or do you just want to sort of leave it open to who?
so I feel Palladian energies. Is that okay? You want to do that
Oh,
or
I would love it. How do you feel about people asking questions vocally? Is that okay if we let people turn on? Cool.
yeah. Either way,
Cool. So,
no, long yeah, it's
thank
fine.
you.
Okay.
So if you guys want, do the hand raising thing on Zoom. Click your little Zoom thing if you want to ask a question. Raise your hand and go ahead, Ivan. Thank
Okay,
you.
Eric, here, my blessings. Greetings. This is Nathaniel with the Palladians with the Tall Blonde Nordics. Greetings here. Yes, we're here to assist you on your journeys. Of course, you are choosing that yourself. We assist where you are, in your incarnation. So some might say can be very in front of where they actually are. Some feel like they're 10 years more advanced than they actually are. There's a lot of that going on. And develop your own vibration is people want to open up their abilities, but how are you treating your own life as it is? Like your family, your cat, your people, that plays a big role in your own development stage of your, if you can handle, it doesn't mean it has to be perfect, but it's how you handle it. And that takes you to, it's like if you can handle your family life, that's very, people wonder why am I in these distressful situations? What's the test you to see if you can handle that? It's like, wow, you took that very well and you earned your abilities. And then to see if you use them well. Also, we're here to answer your questions whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you. So we have I do have a question for the Pleiadian beings that are here, and that is, we have noticed that many people on the Earth plane are often trying to connect on a deeper level with their extraterrestrial soul family. And the Pleiadian energy has been one of the most commonly experienced here on Earth. How can we, those members in this group, further connect with our Pleiadian brothers and sisters at this stage? Any
Well,
advice?
well, because we are a mirror of your reality. We actually have worlds that are developed similar to yours, so we can learn from you. And many of you come from those places to learn more to bring back to those other planets for you to evolve. So to connect with us is basically, of course, on an individual basis. If you're some people they connect to the planes like, oh, we are just this higher dimensional being, we're better than your world. Was this not the case? Is this we see things differently, we have a different culture. If you just realize we're equals, that would help a lot. Because people block their connections from us because they feel like they're just so unworthy because they're in a world of, as some would say, sinners. But this is where the action is. Of course, there are other worlds that have a lot going on also. It's not just this one. Uh, some say that this is the only world where this is the center of everything. There's a lot. There's other places that you have this one to deal with. Just deal with this one.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Many of us are encountering versions of ourself within our dreams, within other states. We are starting to connect with other humans in different ways, whether it be psychically or intuitively. Do the Pleiadians have any advice as to how we can further connect intuitively with each other on the planet?
Well, and it's trust. Intuitively, it's finding someone, at least in your friend circle, to trust, to allow that intuitive vibration to, and just to have that can really open you up on a telepathic level of so many other levels. Understand so much around you, like a spouse or a family member or a friend. And that will help you connect with others. That's friendships. It goes beyond the physical aspect. And usually those friends either become parents or of you or any other connections, children, so forth, future incarnations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna go ahead and let Liz White Swan ask a question here. So I'm gonna let you unmute your mic. Go ahead, Liz.
Hello, I'm wondering what is the most important gift or skill that I can bring forward at this time from my Pleiadian aspect?
Well, just the kindness of your heart, but also you do have an intuitive ability that isn't quite fully developed because you're not sure of it even exists. Of basically just giving yourself more credit that it is operating on a multi-dimensional level, which it is. And yeah, I feel like there's you might not always remember your dreams, but it feels like your dream world does have a lot where you're going to many places that can be brought into this reality, even for your own healing, especially family members that can come to you. So basically, dream work is what I see. That
Thank
can be
you.
opened up.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We do have another question here. This is from Dana. Dana says, when Admiral Byrd had his experience in Antarctica, he described the people he came in contact with to be a lot like the Pleiadians. Are these people originating from the same place?
Well, no, those are yes, elemental beings that looked Palladian like. There's a lot of elemental beings that look very or elf beings that look like Palladians. Those I believe are originated here. Those that they were seeing. But yes, it's just that a lot of them share the same genetics in some form. Of course, many of them have been in play, but I believe those are your early ancestors actually that had a perfected DNA that is here, not fully activated.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have a really good question here. This will be a fun one. This is from Heather J. She says, "Can you talk about human sexuality, specifically orgasms, and how they relate to boosting our psychic powers?"
Well, you can say your whole life can be kind of like an orgasm, you can say. Well, it's just that sexuality has been so manipulated, as you can see, on so many levels. But yes, that's when your world, yes, changes into a higher frequency when more people are more open with it. Of course, you can have a partner, which is probably the safest bet, but that partnership, which obviously you can see is not being allowed to, find its fullest potential here. But yeah, the orgasm energy can be, yes, easily on a daily basis, and you should not be shy about talking about it or bringing it up on a public forum or anywhere for that matter. It should be, just anywhere on the streets, anywhere. It should be fine to mention any type of actually sexual act because it does raise the frequencies because you're going to that level of just feeling good and you want to keep that level going, which actually extends of orgasm energy the more you talk about it. Of course, more with your spouse, but as it more becomes more part of society, yeah, that's another way of growth, of course.
Thank you. Thanks. And if anyone else out there has any questions, you can go ahead and put your hand up or add it in the chat. I do have a question, a little bit of a slight channel switch with this question, so it'll be a little bit of a different subject. But um, are there or can you tell us anything about the presence of Pleiadian influence or connection with people in politics, with the elitist in this world? Because one of the things we often hear about is how there's these ETs, whether positive or negative, that are constantly interfacing, or in some cases they say, our politicians and leaders are ETs. And some people say they are Pleiadians, but looking at the actions that they are taking, sometimes we may doubt that. And so what do you feel about that?
Well, there are a lot of, which is not mentioned very often, of course, publicly, a lot of tall white beings here that can look like Pleiadians. So some tall whites can be not always the most positive beings. Tall whites are from the Orions. A lot of tall whites are positive, but there are some that can be very mischievous. So, yeah, and there are dark, tall, or tall blonde beings, Pleiadians, that can cause difficulty. But usually that's more hidden. But public space is more, from what our perspective, is more of a tall white
Thank you. Thank you. And so this is another question. This is from me specifically, and so myself and others have encountered over the past few years a somewhat of a new form of what we believe to be extraterrestrial consciousness that would come in the form of these very tall, dark-skinned, shamanic humanoid beings. Some of them look like men. Some of them look like, what we might call even Zulu warriors from Africa. And it has been a race and a presence that has shown up in my life several times. They've given me guidance. They have shown up in many different ways, but they have never said where they are from. They have never said, we are this, we are that. But they have been a presence for myself and others. Is there anything that the Pleiadians can tell us about these beings, about their intentions, just any information?
Well, it feels like right now, at least from what they're saying, is they are from Sirius. They don't always want to be known for who they are. They don't feel like it's that important. It's basically their actions what matters most, especially their actions through you, what you're doing, because I believe you're part of their race. So it's like a echo of yours. Now they don't. I feel the reason they show up like that is just covering up who they really are. So it's more of like they're just in the shadows for many reasons. I believe it because I feel like if they're known too well here, it would cause the Earth unsettlety here. It's like the world's not ready for it. I do feel like they're very blue skinned, at least from my perspective.
Mm.
So they just do that, what you saw, just to give you, they're coming from the shadows just to keep themselves hidden. Africa is, yeah, they, from what I can feel in their energy, yeah, they're very sad of what's happening there. They are trying to, of course, lift the vibrations, but they have to let humans do their own evolution. A lot of their energy is connected to Zimbabwe, at least around that area,
Mm.
at least more in ancient times. Of course, they are still there, but Zimbabwe's energy, I'm seeing. So they had a lot to do with advanced medical treatments, which connects to what you're doing, doesn't it? So they're just do advanced tech, yeah, health. It's what they show is like an energy, like a tube but it's energy, but the body's inside of it, swirling around, healing, or do it through regeneration, whatever it might be.
Hmm.
So very, very sixth, seventh dimensional advanced technologies. So
Oh, thank you. That is fascinating. Thank you. Um, and I have one more question, and then we're just wondering if it's possible that we can bring another consciousness in, if there are any available. But I do have another question, and maybe this is a little bit controversial. I don't know, but we're gonna go ahead and ask it. And if you guys have questions in the background, throw them out there as well. But one of the things we're seeing here on the Earth plane is a increasing reliance upon the use of technology to be the be all end all, the healing source for humans on the planet. That in the near future, humans will be given these things called med beds or holographic healing technology that will essentially make all of your health problems just go away in the blink of an eye. Now, myself and other people have sort of, regarded these questioningly, not asking if they exist. But one of the things we do believe is that the human body holds every single key that we need to truly heal. And I was wondering if the Pleiadians could give us their view on the use of technology in healing the human mind, body, spirit complex.
well, yes, the technology, yes, is in herbs and nature itself, but the soul has to be ready for that healing. Sometimes you have to go through what you're going through first for that to, you have to go through your process before you heal. Some might disagree with that, but if you have trouble with your family or spouse or whoever it might be, you probably should heal that first in some form, or it just feels like I've done everything I can. That's fine. And then you can start healing yourself. It's like, what is blocking you in your life first? Look at that first. Of course, you can do work on it, but you can also go back to where you were. You can be healed, but you can go backwards at the same time. So a med bed, as lovely as it sounds, but if you're still having spousal abuse or some kind of situation, how can you go forward with that? Med bed can't fix that, and it will actually reject your energy actually after a while if you even had a med bed. But usually it's just what is around you. Well, if you need to be healed, it will find you, as you already know that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, we have another question, and I want Spirit to feel free if they'd like to bring anyone else in as well. But we're going to go ahead and just ask this other question. This is from Astrid, and she says, "I feel like there's always more trauma to heal within me, and that I'm stuck because of it. Am I stuck because of holding that? Oh, I can't even say the word. Am I stuck because of holding that belief? What to do when feeling powerlessness, both to one's own old trauma and to create change in belief systems?" It's kind of a multi-layered question there. Feel free to
Well,
comment.
it feels like it goes back to the past life connection, where the origins of that trauma, the people that are part of it, where are you connected to them on another timeline? So where is it? And that's how you'll heal that whole situation. It seems like you got yourself in a situation with them where they're kind of getting you back for something that you might have done. That's what I'm receiving. And part of you thought you can get away with not showing what it was because it's on a public forum. But I feel like there's a lifetime of being spoiled, and you just thought you had it, you can get away with some things. And now it's here. So it's basically helping you slow yourself down and be more thankful for the things that are around you. That wasn't always the case in a previous lifetime. See there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Are you able to take more questions? How do we feel over there?
Is there any? We can bring in another being real quick if you like.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Greetings to you. We are the Arcturians. Blessings. We are the council. Sending you energies. Yes, we are as many that want a healed earth, a future of prosperity. But yes, yes, it does. With the previous being, it has to happen in the home first. So For this future Earth of prosperity and positivity, one has to fix themselves. Especially if you have racial issues or issues with anyone, it's basically have peace, harmony. But those, even those are causing you difficulties, yes, it's all in how you sound your vibrations because it does come back. Some are understanding that. So yes, the future looks bright, doesn't it? But what about right now? You're here now for a reason. Because you want to think about when you're not in those situations with us. Yes. So the situations are about self-reflection. So, if you have any questions, please, happy to assist.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We have a question from Nora. This is a personal question. She says, my parents experienced a whole missing day together. Can you look into what happened there?
Yeah, this is a Star Seed collective. So yes, they astrally vanished. Well, they went on a road trip into space, which is very gratifying. That shows that that family has made peace with itself and that they can tolerate each other's vibration and go anywhere, which is a milestone. So they achieved that, which many families are trying to. As you know, the family is very broken all around the world for obvious reasons, because but you're here to put the pieces together. That's the point. I mean, yes, higher dimensional worlds can do this all the time, but sometimes when you have that world, we don't always appreciate it either. Your world, you're coming here to appreciate higher dimensional connections. Could you give me on a higher frequency Earth? But it's like people aren't appreciating it anymore. So you come to this planet, it's like no powers, you gain your powers back. It's like now I'm appreciating things again. And then when you go back to that planet, it's like, wow, I'm a whole new being here. So it's very important.
Thank you. Thanks. We have a question from Sammy. Sammy says, I feel I was guided back to my hometown to help out in some way. Do you have an idea as to why or what that may be?
Friends and family, those are, it just, they can't do it without you. You've already trying to just talk to that person, this person on an astral level, that's not works. So you brought there. Now, this is showing your humanitarian side. It's like, you kind of put your life, from what we see, to the side, but you'll be able to regenerate life there. But it's basically, it's the impact you do there is more important than how you would live your life. It's like this will enhance you over time. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Thanks. We'll take a couple other questions if you guys have any else. I also have a question. Is there anything that we can do specifically to connect in with the energy of the Arcturians just here on the Earth plane? That it has been a commonly mentioned extraterrestrial presence, one of many. Some people call them the Big Five, if you want to go there. But what can we do to further connect with Arcturian consciousness?
Well, it's basically in your intentions. What kind of vibration? I mean, it seems like if you can't connect to our vibration, I mean, there's connections within yourself you have not discovered just yet. Like discover what works for you, what is here now, and then an Arcturian vibration will show up. It's like you want to connect to us. Yes, we're kind of celebrities, I guess, depending on how you look at it. But you have your own family to connect to first. Doesn't mean you're not part of our family. But it seems like you have other, yes, there's a lot of vibration. But yes, you just basically, we're at the level. I mean, it depends on where you are at, but if you're at a level for us to come through, if you're not feeling us around, probably because there's other things you need to look at first. We can do it through a meditation, ask for us to show up. That's a little bit easier.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a couple more questions here. We have a question from Liz, a very specific one. She says, for well over a year, I have been seeing and experiencing a teal light being. Is this an Arcturian guide?
Yes, we believe so, but it's also very connected to the oceans. So it comes in and out of the oceans, talks to the fish, talks to humans that used to be fish. In this energy, I believe you had a lifetime where you yourself can walk on water for of course in higher frequencies, it's not that difficult. But that being is just to give you a glimpse of their vibration, because it feels like their energy can get over consuming. This Well, what I'm seeing from them is like, don't consume yourself on them. You can connect to them, but realize yourself, realize what you have, your own abilities. So that being show up is very important because it shows that, you can see that being other beings come through also.
Thank you. Thank you. This is a really fun question. This is from Dana, and it's very simple. She says, "Why is my life so hard lately?"
It's self-reflect. Is this lately, or has it always been like this, or just happened just now? But from what we're seeing, it's it's been in the works for some time. So it's realize you have lifetimes that have been easy in your previous incarnations, but this is another way for you to develop your own abilities if that's what you're looking for. It feels like you're getting more to know yourself. Like, can I get through this? Can I get through that? It's just seeing what you can accomplish. There's more to it than that, of course. But it's basically these challenges are to make you a stronger person in the long run. Is realize you connect to alien beings. Realize we don't have the stress of other planets, and you come into this world and you know it's like, oh, what was I? The challenges are necessary for growth, and yours is needed.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Lisa asks, "Can you tell us what we are transmitting when we channel light language?"
Well, it all depends. A lot of it's coming from family, uh, normally, or just a being that connects to you. It's like calling you up on the phone and just has a lot to say has a lot of sometimes disagreements on what's going on your planet. I mean, light language can be a conversation about many things. So it's not. I know that people have the intention it's always light, but sometimes just alien beings giving you a philosophical message about and just the vibration. It's like a crop circle of energy coming through. But it is mostly for you that's receiving it, and just it's you remember your galactic self. It's healing all this physicality.
Hmm.
Physical can get kind of
Thank you. This will be our last question here, and it says this is from Kelly, and it's a very fitting final one. She says, "Sometimes I feel as though my abilities were blocked. I have requested assistance in removing these blocks. Is help on the way? I feel like I have been pursuing avenues that are dead ends."
Well, I feel like actually your intuition actually works better than you might think. I believe you also go multidimensional, just not always feeling it. You're not always believing it. So there is an aspect of unblocking. Just is your mind, part of your belief system is kind of blocking it to a certain degree, not fully. It's just that your intuition, like the world, where the world's going, intuition about other people, you'd be surprised how much you get. You might not believe it, but I believe it's there. So there is parts of you that are open. You might not be receiving the flood of information that you think you should be getting, but there is some there.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. And
Yes.
finally, I just kind of want to leave it open for the Arcturians. If there are any additional messages, anything that our collective needs to be made aware of, and we also acknowledge maybe sometimes there isn't. But if there was anything out there, we want to leave it open for you all. Thank you.
Well, in your future time, watch your oceans. Yes, they're going to get kind of active over time, and expect Earth changes, not soon, but eventually, that are necessary. But realize you will be where you need to be. So don't feel that you're in a cataclysm or anything like that. Just live your life where the world has to open itself up. So many of you are opening yourselves up, which is powerful. The earth is feeling it. So you unblock yourself, the earth wants to unblock itself. But once again, don't feel like you need to go live somewhere away from the flooding. Just do what you need to do in your own life. So
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very sincerely.
right.
Nice. Nice.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody who's also asking questions. I think we got through. I think we got through all of them. And so, yeah, I appreciate it, Ivan.
Right. You do.
How does that feel since we are in a training group here? Tell me, how is it when you come out of those sessions? What's the sort of disconnect like from spirit for you?
Well, yeah, where they are, it's like it's a lot lighter. So it's like, it's a healing energy for me coming through. So heals my chakras. It just makes it easier for me to do certain things. So it blocks certain things for me. But yeah, it's just like a energy comes in, just does its thing, and then goes out. So yeah, it's very
Right.
it just flies out basically. So it's yeah, it gives you more energy, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I have also noticed there's sort of an effect that takes place after I sort of will close out a session, or especially when I do live streams, which are much different. I'll bet you've noticed when you do like the live versus like connecting with private clients, a very, very different
Oh yeah.
vibe. I've noticed sometimes like the brain will get on like a fast forward mode, or it's like you'll sort of, or I'll just speak for me. I kind of like stay in a weird where you're like, you kind of stay in this weird flow. Does that ever happen to you?
Yeah, it depends on the person. Privately, yes. During live streams, yeah, I can get that way. It all depends on the being and the subject matter. So yeah, definitely.
Cool. Thanks, man.
Depends on the person, yeah. Privately, because some people can have a lower frequency. It's like, oh, I'm ready to take a nap. So it all depends on the person.
Actually, I have encountered that as well after some people. Absolutely. It's like, whoa, I literally need, it's like you literally need to rest. That is a real thing. I think that's also a sign when we are genuinely and authentically working with spirit, because there's a number of ways in which that affects us. Kind of like you were saying, they're on a much higher dimensional vibratory plane. And so yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up. I don't
Thank
want to
you.
keep you too long. It is a real honor for me, because like I said in the beginning, I mean, you are a person that you are it sounds so dumb. You're literally in our house every day. We're like, I mean, seriously, we really look
Appreciate it.
forward to like what you are, just who you're talking with, the way that you bring forth the information, the way that you connect with spirit. I think that you're one of the most purest examples of people that are conferring with spirit. And I think it is a really good example for everyone else that's coming to this in their own way. Because as I know, we all have our own abilities, our own skills, our own frequencies. And I think people like you, and I pray that people like me and people within this group, we are demonstrating to the world that these things come in a variety of different packages, and spirit speaks in many different ways and many different voices, and energy is working within us all. And so honestly, I really thank you for just stepping into this, because I know, kind of like you, I did not know this was what I was going to be doing when I was a kid, going through life and going through all the weirdness and awkwardness. And so, thank you for weathering just the first part of our lives, which I can imagine was bizarre. Seriously, good job. You made it.
All right. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Oh,
Thank
just
you,
real
everybody.
quickly, how can everybody get a hold of you? Because I know you do private sessions, you do channelings on your YouTube every day. How can these guys find you?
Oh yeah, just ivanteller.com, or you just do a search on YouTube or online. Ivan Teller, it's pretty easy to find. So yeah, I'm
Cool.
available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So yeah, something like that.
Awesome. Thank you, man. Any last words you want to pass on?
Yeah, just be yourself. People want these powers and all that. So like, just be yourself, and you'd be surprised what you have that you're not always aware of. You want to do channelings, you want to be like this person, that person's like people I want to be like too. So because things are there'll be an artist or a writer or something like that. So yeah, but I don't do this stuff 24 hours. I mean, think about channeling and all that. Like you gotta give yourself a break. So find other things. Really, I would recommend that for anybody. Unless you're learning, trying to educate yourself, that's a little bit different. But when you're doing it professionally all the time, it's like something else. So
Yeah. I definitely agree with that on the break thing. Totally.
yeah, you can
That
really
has
burn
been a
yourself
huge
out.
lesson this year for me, is like, well, maybe it's not a good idea to do this literally every single day. Because, at times,
Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, honestly, Ivan, thank you for being here. I hope you guys check
All
out
right.
ivanteller.com, and I pray that you will come back and hang out with us again in the
Sure.
future. I mean that very,
Yeah.
very sincerely. And so, yeah, thank you to everyone else who has been hanging out here with us today. we're going to be back in just about a month. We're going to be doing this again. And so, yeah, you guys, thank you for being a part of the Blue Flame Collective as well. Here's the really cool thing here we're going to mention at the end. In September, you guys, is our 1 year anniversary. It is literally has been exactly 1 year since we started this strange group. And so if you are some of the people that have been here from the beginning, and even if you just came in for just this one event, I want to thank you guys for being a part of this journey. I did not know where this group was going to go when we started it last year. I really had no idea. I was so resistant to doing Patreon. And what you guys have shown me and what our community has shown me is that there is a value in the energy that we're creating, and that people really, really want to be a part of this. And so what we're going to be doing in September, you guys, what I'm hoping we're going to be doing in September is we're going to bring a couple people in, and it's going to be kind of like a multi-person thing. And it's going to be free for our entire community. So, just putting it out there, you guys, save the date. I think we're going to be doing it. I think it's September 17th, but I could be off. So don't quote that date. I think it's the second or third Saturday in September. But thank you guys for being a part of this group. From the bottom of my heart, you have supported us. You have continued to show up, and you've continued to expand yourselves in ways that honestly, I did not know what to expect when we started this journey. And so I love you guys. Thank you for being here. We're going to be back in just about a month. Thank you to Ivan. And I really would love to hear from you guys in the Patreon group. If there's anyone else you would like to see, what else would you like to talk about? For some of you guys that don't know, we are going to be moving in mid-September. So in just about a month, Nora and I are moving across the country to Florida. The cool thing about that is that that's going to allow us to start doing Qigong and to start doing more of the class stuff that we were doing a few months ago. It just got really crazy here in our little 1-room box apartment in LA, and I can't really do the Qigong stuff. And it's just gotten a little intense. So the cool thing is, as we transition into October, you guys, we're going to be having a whole new kind of wave of experiences and stuff that we're going to be working with. And so we're going to be posting this interview probably in the next day or so on YouTube for you guys to check out for free. But in the meantime, thank you for being part of the Blue Flame Collective. You can find me at rememberyourmission.com. You can find Ivan Teller at ivanteller.com, I believe. Or might be a different extension there at the end, but you will find him in the chat. And thank you guys for hanging out. We will see you in about a month. And I love you guys very, very sincerely. Thank you for being a part of my strange movie about this strange lifetime here on Earth. And I'm really honored that I could play a role in yours. And so we'll see you later, guys.